Hey, I'm Jake.
And I'm Michelle.
And today we're going to do our Boundless Kotor recap video.
If you haven't seen our first one, make sure you go back because that was full of a lot of really good information. I'll link it here as well as a blog post to kind of give you a bit of a recap and some of our favorite spots and all that kind of good stuff. So we will not recap all of that. What we do want to talk about is we just came off of a Boundless connection. The end of the cohort Boundless connection with all the other families. And Boundless does a beginning one and an end one. And
yeah, so we're going to give our final thoughts based on what we heard from everyone in the community and based on our personal experience.
Yeah, but I just want to, I guess what I really want to say is there's something about this particular Boundless setup in Kotor, Montenegro that really brings the community closer together, that I don't think that they have had at every spot. And I think the overwhelming theme is with all these families was this overwhelming theme of gratitude and just happiness and how much the community meant to them as adults and for their kids. And it was quite emotional.
Yeah. And
just everybody feeling all the feels and just talking about how happy they are. And I think it really talks to this particular setup in this location in Montenegro. Yes, it's gorgeous with the mountains and the sea, but it's something about Boundless, how they set up.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with having this central building that they have so many of the resources available in. Currently, they still have the working hub here, as well as the EC and 8 of the apartments. And having this central place for everyone to gather and connect, I think really has tied everyone together.
Yeah, I mean, definitely this community building. I wasn't sure how we would love living in a community building with, 8 families, but we've loved it. Loved it. And I think it says a lot about the setup because you can close your doors and be away from it all, but you can open them up and there's play dates and people to talk to and happy hours and game nights and birthday parties and so many things to do right here. You don't have to spend so much time being anybody available for a play date on Monday at 4 o'clock after school, after violin lessons, after soccer practice, whatever it is. It's just right here for you. And it's part of just how the setup is and so close to Old Town and so close to the sea and hikes in the mountains.
Yeah, and from what we heard everyone today, they found it just extremely fulfilling. They all feel like it filled up their cup as far as having their kids get their education, as well as having so many parental activities every day that somebody's going to do something. And if you want to participate, somebody's game to go out and hang out with you.
Yeah, let's just name some of these activities that we did in Kotor, because I want to say this, and I said this at our Boundless Connection time today, and I think I said it in the first video, it took me a couple weeks to kind of come in and get my groove in Kotor, Montenegro. I think I was just a little bit oh, there's so many tourists from the cruise ships, and then I just wasn't really sure where I was going to find my food and all that kind of stuff. And when you're staying somewhere for a little bit longer, that stuff does make a difference. But I have loved, every time we take a walk, and we heard so many other families say this, they take a walk down by the sea and they're just this is magnificent. The beauty is unparalleled. You just can't even imagine, the mountains, the sea, just be able to walk along into the Old Town, stroll those old streets. And the weather has been, I think people stay away from these shoulder seasons and off season. Don't.
Yeah, it's been fantastic.
This has been the best weather because you can go and do anything because the weather has been 60 Fahrenheit. What is that in Celsius? I forget.
And so it's not too hot. It's not too cold. It's right in the middle.
60 Fahrenheit at the end of November. And all of October it was in the 70s.
Yeah.
I mean, just blue skies. We had a week of rain, and then yesterday it rained. Yeah. And I can't even remember any other days it rained.
And so really it provides you with this gorgeous backdrop. So whatever you're doing, you always have this beautiful scenery to look at and to go explore. You can go put yourself right in the middle of it in a hike, take a boat ride. So there's lots of opportunities to get out in nature.
So sorry, that's what we were going to talk about, and then I went off on a tangent. The activities. So name some of the activities that we've done here, that you've done here, that the kids have done here.
Yeah, so you can go kayaking out in the water. You can also rent paddle boards and go paddle boarding. You can go play paddle, which is a type of tennis game similar to pickleball or squash, one of those.
There's a spa sauna that in the off season they give this great deal for €30. You can have this private room to yourself with a pool, your own pool, sauna, and up to 4 people can go for €30 total. People have done cooking classes, they did an olive tour, they've done cheese making tastings or something.
Hiking.
The cable car is really cool, and they have an alpine coaster. I feel like there's been so many things to do that we've had to relearn to say no a little bit, because we're always telling people like, say yes when you come into this. You'll have the best experience if you say yes to things. But then we've also had to learn to say no. Oh, we put on, Jake really was a mastermind behind a murder mystery party, which was super fun. Everybody, but it took everybody coming in this community dressed up, saying yes, having fun with it all. We had a Halloween party with all the families.
Yeah, and so just to recap, again, the session where all the families give their final thoughts on the cohort, everyone just felt so connected, and they felt like they were able to quickly build this community and feel like they were just plopped in here and they were just given this instant community. That was the sentiment that everyone shared. And I feel like, as Michelle noted, that is the beauty of this specific spot in Kotor. Unlike maybe some of the other locations that Boundless has, where some of the apartments are a little more spread out, what have you, here it's so centralized and you're so quickly able to join in and connect with everybody.
Yeah, and I think that is really special, and I think that it really makes this like strong connection, which is typically why people are coming to do Boundless, is for this opportunity to be in a different country but have this like instant community and these strong connections and bonds with people that it can take years and years to make the bonds that we've made with some of these families in 3 months, right? I mean, you're just so close and just experiencing so much together. And it's really, I think everybody also shared the sentiment of like, especially the first time families, right? Like coming in, not really knowing what to expect, being like, is Boundless some kind of like crazy cult, or is it some kind of crazy thing? And then being just like blown away by the experience and having a hard time articulating it to friends and family back home about like what an amazing, truly like life-changing experience it can be to be a part of something like this.
Yeah, definitely. Some other things that we left out from our last video were just exploring around Montenegro and beyond, and how the challenges are to get out of Kotor.
Yeah.
We did find a place where we could rent a car really easily right down the street. Also through Boundless, you can rent cars, so they have a connection where they can have cars dropped off. And that's made it really easy for families to explore on the weekends, to go over to Bosnia or down to Albania.
Or some of the towns, I mean, Herceg-Novi, we loved that.
Yeah.
I mean, we drove to Budva the other day and it was amazing. It was so gorgeous.
Yeah, and even just Tivat, the next town over.
Right.
They have a beautiful Porto Montenegro with a gorgeous, millions and millions of dollar yachts lining the harbor there. So.
And we did a little forest school on the weekend there where we kind of looked for chestnuts and learned about some of the plants with an herbalist, and then had soup with a local. There's all sorts of fun things to do.
Yeah, and so while there's not easy public transportation or a train system to get around, the rental cars are quite convenient.
Honestly, I think it's like one of those things, kind of like food. Like we came and we were like, okay, we're not going to be able to find like our types of foods and stuff here, and then you just have to kind of like figure it out a little bit, and so it just takes some time. And really, I say like Montenegro is kind of hard to travel around, but really it was quite easy. We just like rented a car and it was super easy, and off we went. And we
went up and see the caves up in the national park area.
Right.
So a lot to see and explore around, both in nature and other cities and towns nearby.
Yeah. So overall, I think our sentiment is...
Oh, what is it? Are you setting me up to say something big here? What is it? Which is your favorite Boundless location?
Honestly, this is the best Boundless Life location for community.
Yeah.
Can you agree with that?
Totally.
I think now, like looking back, let's say like all of the locations we've been to now, we've only not been to Estepona, which will be next, but I think people tend to go Syros, Greece is like just a magical location, and I agree with that. It's hard for me not to pick Syros because it tends to be so magical, and also there are very few families that don't end up liking it there. Usually people fall in love with it there. So it's an easy one to recommend, but as far as community and the amount that we bonded with people is way more here because of the setup in Montenegro.
Yeah, I agree there. The other thing that families were talking about today is, what were your goals for this session and did you achieve them? Mm-hmm. Well, I don't think many people had the goal of like making these permanent connections. Right. And so while they didn't hit there's some of their personal business enterprise goals, they did hit these goals of just like really connecting with people and having so many laughs and great times together, and that's really filled everyone up for sure.
Yeah, so I think that this location has that And that really fills people's cups, I think, even more than maybe a more magical location, or which is hard for me to say as I'm looking up at these mountains and I know that sea is right there. It's like, this is quite magical too. But I think really Kotor's beauty comes within this community, comes within the community and the setup and the ease of access to everything.
Yeah, and you still have the same gym next door, super easy. Grocery stores all around us, super easy. Old town with little cafes and things like that to check out, all very within reach, arm's reach here.
Yeah. Okay, so what other recommendations would you have?
Well, I think in our earlier video we said, it's a little harder to get to Montenegro. So if you're a first-time traveling family or even a first-time Boundless family, previously we said this might not be the easiest starter location for you, but I take all that back because once you're here, it is so easy to embrace the community, get all the access to the things you need. And so for a first-time family traveling abroad or traveling into Boundless, I think this is actually quite a great location.
Especially if you are at this community building. I will say that. I think that this makes a difference, honestly, especially for first-time traveling families, because you have this community around you to help with everything. In the community buildings, does anybody have an egg? Does anybody have this?
Or
does anybody have that?
We even had the little kids started their own businesses. So our kids with some of the other families' kids, they did grocery pickup and delivery. Another family did trash removal every morning.
Yeah. And
so it made it even easier for us.
And then our daughter and one of the other kids did play groups on the off days of school or after school for the little kids. But I will say, even some of the families that did not live in this building, one of them did an essential oils perfume making one day after school for a little business, and the other one did Halloween jewelry for Halloween, which was really cool. So
even if you're not right in this building, you can still come to the building and
all the time.
It's very magnetic here.
Yeah, I agree with you that first-time traveling families, well, Montenegro can be a little bit harder to travel to.
Yeah, a little cold. The people are a little colder.
Bit colder, yeah.
To get in and out might be a little
not
more challenging.
Not the weather. The people are colder, a little less friendly and stuff. Yeah, it's a little more challenging to get in and out. But honestly, this is a pretty easy way to have a first-time travel experience. Just to be right here and have everything right at your fingertips.
Yeah. Having the combination of the mountains, the water, and Old Town, those three things together make it a magical place.
It does. I think we both feel, and it felt like everybody was this was a pretty incredible experience. And I think it goes back, and I'll just restate this one more time, to this setup here. And Boundless just found a really cool place just on the outskirts of mountains, sea, and Old Town on every side of us. Having this space where it's easy to have the kids in school, it's easy to go to your neighbor's house in and out, if you want to, or just be alone for a while is pretty special. And I think everybody kind of felt that.
Being alone by yourself is pretty special.
Sometimes it is. It is very special. But also, I'm the kind of, I want to be alone a little bit, but I also want, all the socialization when I want it, right? And it's perfect for that.
It's a great combination. Yeah, being able to close your door or open it up.
Open it up, and then people come in and out, and it's great. So overall, highly recommend for those reasons. If that sounds if people are joining Boundless, you usually want community. So I would think this is a pretty good fit for most people.
And what an easy way to connect one of their European locations in the Schengen with staying around for another 3 months.
Right.
So go to Portugal, go to Spain, go to Greece, go to Italy, and then go to Kotor. What an easy combo. So if you're considering all the different Boundless Life locations, definitely put Montenegro, Kotor here at the top of your list for one place to go to get the strongest sense of community and ease of access to everything around you. Maybe not that you're going to venture out on the most number of extra weekend activities, excursions.
But I think that's why the community is really strong, honestly. I think that's actually the beauty of it.
But definitely you can get a lot of nature, hikes, outdoor activity, but also go visit some of the nearby towns and cities and old towns.
Yeah, so we will say bye from Kotor, Montenegro as we leave here in a few days.
And we'll see you the next time in España.